The following content has been generated with artificial intelligence under minimal human supervision. The data presented may contain errors or inaccuracies. The opinions expressed in this content do not necessarily reflect the vision, position, or values of DigiAll. We recommend verifying critical information with additional sources before making decisions based on this content.
Welcome to DigiAll Tech News. Today is Wednesday, January 14th, 2026. I'm Kylie Brooks, and this is where technology becomes clear and engaging. Apple announces a multi-year partnership with Google to power Siri with Gemini AI models. AstraZeneca acquires Boston-based AI startup Nvidia to accelerate cancer drug discovery. The US government approves sales of Nvidia's advanced H200 AI chips to China with new restrictions. Google researchers discover a remarkably simple technique that boosts AI accuracy by up to 76%. Anthropic launches Claude Cowork, bringing AI automation to everyday users beyond just programmers. Let's start with what might be the biggest AI partnership of the year so far. Apple announced earlier this week that they're teaming up with Google to integrate Gemini AI models into Siri. This isn't just a small update, we're talking about a complete transformation of Siri's capabilities, with the new AI-powered version launching later this year. After careful evaluation, Apple said Google's technology provides the most capable foundation for their AI models. What's particularly interesting here is the timing. Apple has been noticeably quiet in the AI race, while competitors like Microsoft and Meta have been making headlines. They even delayed Siri's big AI update from last year to this year. Now they're making a bold move by partnering with Google, who had their best stock market year since 2009 and briefly hit a $4 trillion valuation right after this news broke. The financial details haven't been disclosed, but earlier reports suggested Apple might pay around $1 billion annually for a custom Gemini model. This builds on their existing relationship where Google already pays billions to be the default search engine on iPhones. And this deal doesn't change Apple's partnership with OpenAI for ChatGPT integration in Siri for complex queries. It seems Apple is taking a multi-vendor approach to AI, which is smart given how fast this technology is evolving. Moving to healthcare, AstraZeneca just made history yesterday as the first major pharmaceutical company to acquire an AI firm outright. They're bringing Boston-based Nvidia AI in-house to supercharge their oncology research. This follows a multi-year collaboration that started last July, which AstraZeneca's CFO described as a test drive. Now they're convinced enough to bring Nvidia's data, AI models, and talent fully into the company. The goal is to make pathology more quantitative by using computers to analyze tissue biopsies, identify specific proteins, and link them to clinical data. This could dramatically speed up how they identify the right patients for clinical trials and develop targeted cancer treatments. AstraZeneca's CFO, speaking at the J.P. Morgan Healthcare Conference, said this will help them reach their ambitious target of $80 billion in annual revenue by 2030. This acquisition fits into a broader trend we're seeing where AI is moving from experimental to mission-critical in drug development. Just recently, Nvidia and Eli Lilly announced a $1 billion AI partnership. The pharmaceutical industry is clearly betting big that AI can solve one of their biggest problems, the incredibly high cost and long timelines of bringing new drugs to market. In a significant policy shift, the US Department of Commerce approved yesterday the sale of Nvidia's advanced H200 AI chips to China. These chips were previously restricted over concerns they could enhance China's military capabilities. The H200 is Nvidia's second most advanced semiconductor, sitting just below their top-tier Blackwell processor, which remains banned. Chinese buyers can now purchase H200 chips as long as there's sufficient supply for the US market. They demonstrate proper security procedures, and they commit not to use them for military purposes. There's also a 25% fee on these transactions that President Trump announced last month. Nvidia welcomed the decision, saying it benefits US manufacturing and jobs. This comes as CEO Jensen Huang spent much of last year lobbying Washington to allow these sales, arguing they're necessary to maintain global competitiveness. The timing is interesting given the ongoing geopolitical tensions between the US and China in the AI race. Beijing has been pushing its companies to prioritize domestic chips, though experts say Chinese semiconductors still lag behind US technology. Analysts expect Chinese firms will seek out H200 chips until their local alternatives catch up, even with the added fee cutting into margins. The Chinese embassy opposed what they called the politicization and weaponization of technology and trade. This decision might also set a precedent for how the US handles broader trade tariffs going forward. Here's a fascinating research finding that came out yesterday. Google researchers discovered that simply repeating your prompt twice can boost AI accuracy by up to 76% on certain tasks. Yes, you heard that right. Just copy and paste your question twice, and the AI performs significantly better. This technique addresses what's called the causal blind spot in transformer architectures. These models process text left to right, which means they can only pay attention to words that came before, not after. When you repeat the query, the second instance can look back at the first one, essentially giving the AI a bidirectional view of your question. The researchers tested this on models from Google, OpenAI, Anthropic, and DeepSeek across various benchmarks. They found 47 wins out of 70 comparisons with no losses for direct answer prompts. In one test, Gemini's accuracy jumped from 21% to 97% just by repeating the prompt. The beauty of this is that it doesn't add latency because the repetition only affects the efficient prefill stage, not the actual generation. For reasoning tasks with chain of thought prompting, the benefits were neutral since those models already internally restate the question. But for simpler tasks like information extraction or question answering, this could be a game changer. Businesses could use this to boost the performance of lightweight, cheaper models to match more expensive ones. It's one of those solutions that seems almost too simple to work, but the data backs it up. Finally, Anthropic launched yesterday a preview of Claude Cowork, which they're describing as an AI agent for regular people, not just developers. Claude Code has been available since last fall for programmers to automate coding tasks. Now, Claude Cowork brings similar capabilities to everyday users. You grant it access to a specific folder on your computer, and it can read, edit, or create files within that space. The use cases they're highlighting include organizing messy downloads folders by renaming files intelligently, converting receipt screenshots into expense tracking spreadsheets, navigating websites through Claude's Chrome plugin, and accessing third-party apps like Canva. You can also queue up multiple tasks to run in parallel without having to manually provide context or convert file formats. Anthropic is emphasizing security, saying Claude can only access folders you explicitly permit. However, they warn it could potentially do destructive things like delete files or misinterpret instructions, so they recommend giving clear guidance. What makes this particularly interesting is the comparison to Microsoft's Copilot, which has been promoted heavily for years but hasn't seen massive adoption. Anthropic might have an advantage here because Claude Code has already proven popular with programmers, giving them credibility. The catch is that Claude Cowork currently requires a Claude Max subscription, which costs $200 per month for nearly unlimited usage. It's also limited to Mac users with the Claude macOS app for now, with others needing to join a waitlist. Whether this becomes the killer app for AI agents or joins the long list of overhyped features remains to be seen, but it's definitely a step toward making AI automation accessible beyond the developer community. So that's where we stand this Wednesday. We're seeing major partnerships reshaping AI infrastructure, healthcare embracing AI for drug discovery, geopolitical maneuvering over chip access, practical research breakthroughs that anyone can use, and AI agents moving beyond developer tools. It's a lot to process, but that's exactly why staying informed matters. We'll continue tracking these developments as they unfold. Thank you for staying informed with Digital Tech News. We'll be back with more updates as they develop.